In one of my previous tutorial videos, I showed you guys how to make this superhero name stencil using the Cricut design space. And I told you guys that there's a lot that you can do with this design. You can print it on a poster, print it on a mug, and even make a custom t-shirt using this design. And a lot of you guys have asked me for the custom t-shirt tutorial. So today I'm going to show you guys how I print this on a custom t-shirt using transfer paper for dark fabrics. And if you guys stick around to the very end of this video, when I'm done pressing the shirt, I'm going to show you guys how I would go about printing a poster using this design directly from the Cricut Design Space app. And it'll take a minute or two to do. It's not difficult at all. For those of you who don't yet know how to make this superhero name stencil using the Cricut Design Space, I suggest that you go back to my previous video. I will leave a link to that on this video and down below in the description as well. However, I noticed that I did leave out one important detail in the previous design tutorial, so I'm just going to briefly go over that. When you're searching for your superhero images that you're going to use for this design, for example, here I'm going to jump onto Google and search Spider-Man comic book images. Click on Image Tools, then Size, and select Large, and this will bring up the large image options that Google was able to find. If your images are too small and you try to blow them up or enlarge them, they're going to come out looking grainy or pixelated or blurry because they likely have a low resolution, which is going to give you a low print quality. So the best way around that is to use the largest possible image that you can find. So that was my tip. Now we're moving on to actually printing and pressing this design onto a t-shirt. I always like to get a good measurement of the t-shirt that I will be using first so that I know how big I need to make the design. If I can't find a measuring tape or a ruler, I'll just use a standard 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper to measure, so I know that the width is 8.5. And that looks about right. It looks like a decent size for the design for this t-shirt anyway. It is a size small kids baseball t-shirt. And so I'm going to go back to the Cricut Design Space and resize the entire width of my name design. So I'm going to select all the letters at once and resize the width to 8.5. As usual, I'll be using my favorite transfer paper for dark fabrics, which is neenah 3G Jet Opaque. And I will be printing using my HP Envy 5660 Inkjet printer. You do need an inkjet printer to print on this specific type of transfer paper. Also, this transfer paper works best on cotton or mostly cotton fabrics, which is what we'll be using. I'll be using a 100% cotton fabric t-shirt. You'll notice that the letters on here are not really in order, but that doesn't matter because we're going to cut them out and place them on the t-shirt individually in the order that they're supposed to be in. I'm going to set my Cricut dial to light cardstock and get cutting. When the Cricut's done cutting, go ahead and unload the mat. And the next step is a little tricky if you don't have practice. You have to peel each letter off individually, so peel it off the backing sheet that it comes with. It helps to have long nails for this process, and I also find it easier to do if I leave the design stuck on the Cricut mat like this. It does take practice. The first couple times that I tried working with this type of transfer paper, it was incredibly frustrating because once you peel off the design, the transfer paper is really thin and flimsy and it's easy to rip, so that's why you have to do it slowly and carefully. Now we can go ahead and center the design on the t-shirt, and I suggest that you do this before turning on your heat press because once the t-shirt heats up, the heat activates the adhesive on the transfer sheets and it makes it more difficult to move the design and each letter around. And before pressing the shirt, I'm going to go ahead and place a Teflon sheet on top of the t-shirt to protect it from the heat. And my heat press is set to 350 degrees for 20 seconds. You can use a home iron with this transfer paper as well. Just be sure to follow the instructions in the packaging. The last step is to go ahead and press the t-shirt. This is the finished product, and for those of you who stuck around till the end, let's get to some bonus content. I think what I would probably do is recreate this entire design on Photoshop so that I can tweak some things around and fix the resolution and do a couple of other things, but I realize that not everybody has Photoshop or knows how to use it. So if you're working with only the Cricut design space, go back to the original design, and what I would do is just take a screenshot of this design. I'm zoomed in because I want it to, if I'm going to print it out large, I want it to give me the best possible resolution. And I think the only way I can really do that if I'm working with a screenshot is to zoom in as much as possible so that I can save the largest possible version or image of this design. I'm working on a Windows 10 PC, so if I hit Ctrl-Shift-S, this clipping tool will pop up and it will allow me to take a screenshot of anything I want on the screen. I'm going to select the area on my screen that I want it to take a picture of. And from here you can save it to your computer and either print it from home or send it to be printed somewhere. I'm going to save it and open it up in Photoshop so I can resize it to 12 by 18. This is my Phaser 7800DN laser printer. It's similar to what you would find at a copy store like Staples or Office Depot. I actually found it on OfferUp and got a really good deal for it because I basically do this for a living, so I did a lot of printing and I got tired of commuting and going to Staples and back and forth, so I figured I would just buy myself a printer, and I haven't looked back since. It's been really, really great. Definitely a worthwhile investment if you have a printing business so that you run from home. This phaser prints in several different sizes, including letter, legal, tabloid, and 12 by 18, which is what I'm going to be printing right now. I'm printing on 80-pound bright white cardstock, and as usual I'll leave all the links to the products used in this tutorial down below in the description for you guys. And here is the finished product, a 12 by 18 poster. That's it for this video, guys. Please let me know down below if you have any questions or comments. I hope you found this helpful, and like and subscribe for future videos.